Hello fellow stackers, 365 here, welcome back to my channel. First of all, I want to say thank you very much to all the new subscribers. Thank you for all the support that my previous videos have got. It just goes to show how many people are concerned with the banking system, because the amount of comments that I've seen, now I haven't had a chance to reply to every single comment yet, but I will get round to it. I have been reading them though, and it just goes to show you there's so many people having the same experience that I'm having. You can't even go into your own bank and draw out money. Now, it's really, really crazy, and I urge you to try this experiment yourself. Don't take my word for it. Go into your local bank, ask them to draw out £1,000 and see what they tell you. Now, I've done a bit of research and I've looked on websites of different banks around the UK, and all of them seem to say roughly the same sort of thing, that there's no limit to how much you can withdraw over the counter. Now, that's just not the case, because we've seen in my previous videos that I went to two separate branches. I went to a city centre branch, which is a lot bigger, and I went to a kind of my local branch, which is kind of like in my town, which is a lot smaller. And they both told me the same thing, that I physically couldn't get hold of my own money over the counter. I had to use the ATM machine. So it's really insane that on the websites of the banks they say that there's no limit and you can draw out what you want, but then when you actually go to the banks they're telling you that you can't. So like I said, I definitely urge you to try this experiment yourself. Don't take my word for it. Go to your own bank, ask to draw out £1,000 and see what they say, because it just goes to show that if you read some of the comments on my previous videos, a lot of people have experienced similar things. So yeah, it's really crazy to think that you can't get hold of your own money very, very easily. Now, this is why I'm so glad I have most of my wealth tied up in investments, and I have a large part of my wealth in precious metals. This is my own banking system here. I've made up my own banking system. I can go to a coin shop or a bullion dealer and swap this stuff for fiat if I need it. And in today's video, we're going to talk about a further experience that I've had with a different bank. So in my previous videos, I went to two of the same company, two of the same bank, just two separate branches. In this video this morning, I went to a completely different bank, and I went to the largest branch that I could find, and it was about a 2 hour drive from where I live. So already you can see that banks are closing down. The first one that I went to go to, which was about an hour away, I just typed it in the sat nav. I was about to go and I thought I better check before I drive all the way there if it's not closed down. I've done a bit of research online and the actual branch has closed down. And you see that more and more as well, that my local bank is closing down at the end of this month. And I don't know what they're going to turn the building into, but all I know is that the actual branch is closing down. Now, you see it all the time. Banks are just closing down left, right, and centre. So it's going to get to a stage where you've only got the option to use an ATM, which is again insane, because you're really, really capped on how much money you can get hold of at any one time. So this morning I went into a different bank. Like I said, I went 2 hour drive to a city centre. So I went to the big bank. I took all the same IDs that I took to the other two banks. I took my driving license, my passport, a bill, my broadband bill for proof of address, and I obviously took my bank card. Now I went in, they checked my details, they saw I had £2,500 in. I asked to withdraw the full amount. Now I was quite shocked because they didn't even ask what the money was for this time. And in both the other banks, they were asking me what my money was for, what I was spending it on, all the rest of it. Now this time they didn't really seem to care what the money was for. I think in the first bank I went to, they asked me. The second one they didn't, I believe. I'll have to watch back my videos because I filmed them on the actual days that I went there. But this bank didn't ask me. So they didn't ask me what I wanted the money for. They just turned around straight away and said, unfortunately, we haven't got that money. You can order it for 48 hours in advance. Now, I didn't get that option in the other two banks that I went to. So already that's a slight improvement. But again, I'm only asking for £2,500. How much do these banks hold on their premises if you can't even draw out £2,500? Now, they said to me that to draw that amount of money out, and they made it sound like I was asking for £50,000 or something, the way they were kind of talking. But they said in order to draw that amount out, we need to pre-order it so that we have it on site in the bank. And then you need to come back either tomorrow or the day after. We'll get in touch with you and let you know when we have it on site. So again, it just blows my mind, because we're kind of one step closer to getting hold of my actual money. But again, they're giving me excuses. They can't just give me my money there and then. They're saying I've got to wait for 2 days. Well, maximum 2 days. It may be the next day or the following day, which which is just crazy. I still can't walk into a bank and draw out my money. So I said to her, can I speak to the manager? I said, I'm really, really not happy. I said, I need £2,500. I need to pay some bills. I'm having work done on my house. I have a bill around that I need to pay. I said, this is the third bank I've tried. And I said, I can't wait for 2 days. I need the money right now. So they said, okay, take a seat. So they took me over to this kind of separate area, if you like, where you kind of can sit down, and I'm guessing it's kind of the place where you sit down to open up accounts and things like that. So I sat down there. I was waiting for about 15 minutes. They said, can I get you a drink, water or anything? They directed me towards like a water dispenser. I said, no, I'm fine. So I sat down. 15, 20 minutes later, the branch manager came and sat with me. And I thought, okay, we're getting somewhere now. And I started off by saying, look, let me just, before you start, I just want to explain my frustrations. I said, oh, this is the third bank I've tried and I just can't get hold of my money. I've said, I've got £2,500 in the bank. I need to withdraw it to pay a builder. Now, I was planning to kind of not go down the route of telling them what I wanted the money for. But I thought if I just put the pressure on, tell them I need the money, it's urgent, and then let's see what happens. So he said to me, as my colleagues explained, we don't have that sort of amount on site. And I said, well, how much money do you have on site? Because £2,500 in the grand scheme of things isn't a lot of money. So how much do you hold on site? And he said, for security reasons, we can't disclose how much we hold on site at any one time, but we have a total amount that we start with at the beginning of the day. And as people come and make cash withdrawals, that amount obviously gradually decreases and we have to wait till the following day for it to replenish. And I said, okay, that makes sense. But I said, I've come in here, I'm one of the first customers in here. So you can't tell me that people have been in here already and drawn out all the money and emptied the bank. I just can't get my head around. This bank is a big bank, it's a well-known bank, it's a huge branch. And for me to be sitting there in front of the branch manager and him to still tell me that I can't get hold of my cash. So it ended up with him saying, would you like me to pre-order it for tomorrow? He said 48 hours is the kind of turnaround time for that sort of amount. And again, they made it sound like I was trying to draw out, like empty the whole bank or draw out £50,000. All I want is £2,500. So I said, no, forget it. I said, I'm going to go elsewhere. He said, okay, I'm sorry I can't help you. That's just our procedures, blah, blah, blah. And I just left. And I'm just frustrated talking about it, to be honest, because I just can't believe that this is 3 banks I've been into. The first 2 were the same company, the same bank, just different branches. This is a completely different bank. It's a large bank. I've drove 2 hours, so it's a 4-hour round trip for me to even get there. And they're still telling me I can't get hold of my money until 48 hours. Now, I suppose the positives of this video is the fact that they're saying I can draw money out over the counter. So I suppose that is a positive. They are saying I can draw it out in one go. Whereas the other 2 branches I went to, the other 2 banks I went to said that I couldn't even draw out money over the counter. It had to be done by the ATM. So we're slightly further forward, but it's still very frustrating to think that it's such a big deal for them to get hold of your money. Like, how much stuff do they have to move around to be able to get just £2,500? Like, why haven't they got this sort of amount sitting in the branch? Because that is not a huge amount of money in the grand scheme of things. Imagine if I wanted to go and buy a car and the car was, say, £8,000-9,000 and I wanted to pay in cash, because that's what people do. People like paying in cash for things. People don't want to be forced to have to pay online and transfer money over. That's just not how it should be. But that's the way, that's the vibes I get. It almost, when I've gone into these banks and I'm asking for cash, they always make you feel like they almost try and make you feel like you're unusual for asking for cash and you're like a dinosaur and you're like really old fashioned that you actually want physical cash. It's always like confusing. I think it was the first branch I went to, and they said to me, I tried using the reason that I said, what about if I need to pay my employees if I've got a business? And they kind of questioned that. They said, well, why would you pay your employees in cash? And do you know what I mean? There's lots of questions and it's all very much like, well, why do you want cash? Like, no one wants cash kind of thing. So yeah, really, really frustrating. Again, I enjoyed doing this experiment, but it's just more and more so frustrating because it's just a scary thought to think that it's not as easy as walking into a bank and taking your money out. What if you needed that money? What if I genuinely needed that money for an emergency and they're telling me I've got to wait 48 hours and then go back and get it? So yeah, it's really frustrating. This afternoon, I'm going to a different bank again. So a completely different bank again. This will be my third actual different bank. It'll be my 4th branch. but it'll be my third actual different company bank, if that makes sense. And this time it is a joint account that me and my partner have. So I was going to go do it on my own, but I thought to avoid messing around, I'm going to go with my partner because I'm not quite sure how it works. So I'm guessing she might have to be with me as it's a joint account to try and draw out cash. And I also want to stop any kind of excuses that they could possibly say about why I can't draw out cash. So me and my partner are going to go to a bank this afternoon. I'm going to try and film the video when I get back so it's kind of fresh in my head and I can kind of explain the outcomes of it. So to summarize this video, I ended up walking out the bank. There was a few other things said. We had kind of a few kind of strong words. I was saying this is ridiculous and blah blah blah, and he was just trying to calm me down. So that's procedure. Da, 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 da. And like I said, I didn't. It was getting to a stage when it was just getting a bit silly, and I thought I don't want him kind of calling security and the police and all the rest of it. That's not what this. I don't want to get myself in a bit of a pickle. I'm just trying to do a video to inform people the realities of how difficult it is to get your money out of your own bank. So, like I said, later on today, I'm going to go to a different bank again. Again, I'm going to go to a larger bank, so they haven't got the excuse that they're a smaller branch and they hold less money on site and all the rest of it. And I'm going to go with my partner, and it's a joint account, and I've got £2,500 in this account, and I'm going to try and draw it out. My partner's taking all the same ID that I'm taking, so they can't turn around and say you haven't got the right ID or anything like that. So do subscribe and keep a lookout, because this afternoon I'm going to upload that video and we'll go from there. But yeah, really frustrating, and I just can't get my head around that I can't get my own money out of the bank very easy at all. And like I said, I suppose if you look at the positives of this video, they have told me I can get it over the counter, which the other banks told me I couldn't. But I've still got to wait 48 hours. Now, it's not good enough in my opinion. It's my money. I want to be able to get my money out of the bank. Imagine if there was an actual emergency and it was a family emergency and I had to jump on a plane today and go to a different country, or I had to move, or whatever the reason might be. You never know what's going to happen where you have to up and leave in a hurry. And to not be able to get your money quickly is really frustrating. Now, if I had to leave in a hurry and all my wealth is tied up in this stuff, I can chuck it all in a bag. Again, if you've got a lot of silver, it's a bit more difficult. It can't be as mobile. So you kind of have to be tactful when you're stacking, in my opinion. You have to kind of have a mixture between silver and gold. And the reason why I have a mixture between silver and gold is, in my opinion, silver has more upside potential because it is more kind of erratic on the charts. So there's more money to be made, in my opinion. And gold is a lot more steady, but gold is a lot smaller, so it's more mobile, it's more portable. You could literally get £50,000 worth of fiat currency in gold form in one pocket, no problem. Whereas if you're just trying to get £50,000 worth of fiat currency in silver, you're going to need to hire a van, for example. So yeah, it's always good to be diversified. And yeah, we're going to wrap the video up there because I'm kind of going off topic a little bit. But as always, I'm not a financial advisor. Make your own investment decisions. Always do your own due diligence before investing in anything. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this video, and I hope you have a nice day.